With the advance poll behind us, we are less than 1 week away from the much anticipated by-election. We've brought you up to speed with the history and the campaign trail to this point. Tonight, we're challenging the status quo, redefining the narrative of political campaigns as we sit down with the contenders vying for your votes in the upcoming by-election. Welcome to On the Record. Traditionally, campaigning is often about promises and policies, about the big picture that's painted in broad strokes. But what about the individuals behind the podiums? Who are they when the speeches end, the cameras fade, and the crowds disperse? Tonight, we embark on a journey to uncover the essence of these candidates. We'll be sitting down with each candidate, not just to discuss their manifestos, but to delve into the very core of who they are. What experiences have shaped them? What values guide their decisions? In a world of polished rhetoric and rehearsed answers, we aim to strip away the layers and bring you the unfiltered truth. Join us as we go beyond the campaign slogans, beyond the photo ops, and into the hearts and minds of those who seek to lead us forward. Welcome to On the Record. I'm your host, Jerome Sawyer. In a world inundated with information where attention spans waver like a flickering flame, the effectiveness of conventional political spectacle is increasingly questionable. It's time to acknowledge that the way we connect with our candidates, the way we understand their motivations and convictions may depend on a fresh approach. And this is why we're here. 2 of the 5 candidates join us tonight, and we are digging into exactly why they want your vote. We are giving them 19 questions and 15 minutes to answer them. But before we get into that, we mentioned to you that yesterday was the advance poll, which was our first look into what next week has in store for us. Despite Mother Nature's best attempt to dampen spirits, yesterday's advance polling day was a true testament to the unwavering dedication of voters. The inclement weather might have been pouring down, but that didn't deter citizens from proudly donning their party colors and making their way to the polling stations across West Grand Bahama and Bimini constituencies. We begin our advance poll recap with a report filed by our Megan Shepherd, who spoke to all 5 candidates in West Grand Bahama yesterday.
Several of those candidates, including the Progressive Liberal Party's Kingsley Smith Jr. and the Free National Movement's Bishop Ricardo Grant, sharing what they plan to bring to the community if elected on November 22nd.
Let us continue to let the PLP represent West Grand Bahama and Bimini. So I'm asking all the voters for your vote.
Simple as small home repairs, simple as affordable housing, simple as ensuring that we can make sure the job opportunities here where they live is definitely afforded to them.
For independent candidate Taquan Swain, he says he believes the voters have had enough of voting for the 2 major parties.
Have you seen them in the community? Have they fought for issues? Were they there with you on the ground when you had concerns, when you had issues in your community? That's what I think should be the deciding factor, and not age.
Also looking to infiltrate the traditional 2-party system, the leader of the Coalition of Independents, Lincoln Bain. He says he is confident that voters in the constituency are ready for change.
I feel that people want change, man. People are tired of the same cycle back and forth, PLP, F&M. Nothing is going to happen for them. They know that the people are coming with promises. The Prime Minister himself was knocking door to door, which means that they feel threatened.
And although she recently announced her candidacy seat in the Elizabeth constituency. Independent candidate Ternille Burrows is also seeking to represent West Grand Bahama and Bimini.
I'm confident that I was able to do the best job possible that I could with limited resources. You saw the public disclosure. But those people who were able to meet face to face, I want to thank them for allowing me in their homes.
Well, our next stop is Bimini, where residents made suggestions for improvements they would like to see on their island. Our Bethany McDermott was there and told us that although the weather kept the candidates away from the island, the process itself was seamless and painless.
I live under the PLP tree.
Youngsters who have little track in Bimini, we'll beat them by 65. And look like we're going to beat them by a bigger margin than that.
In North Bimini, locals trickled in one by one to cast their votes. While some dressed in regular colors, others didn't hide who they voted for. But the common theme amongst these voters is that work needs to be done in Bimini.
My concern is government facilities. See how run down they are, and they need attention.
Extracurricular activities, more sporting programs, or basically more things for them to do after school.
But then there were these residents who shared why they voted either red or yellow.
I believe that if Bishop Ricardo Grant is given a chance to represent the West End and Bimini constituency, he'd do a great job.
Make it better for the younger generation. This is why I vote. Because when we pass on, it's another younger generation here. And, we have to look out for them, And I'm very confident in Mr. Smith.
Then there was Chloe Smith, who doesn't believe there needs to be any changes in Bimini.
You can't do much more than what they do because we got plenty of people coming in on all them ship.
Thank you so much, ma'am.
All the ships would come in Bimini, come through Obi's come.
While the wild weather didn't prohibit voters from coming out, it did stop candidates from traveling to the island. Both PLP and F&M officials tell us the two camps planned to drop in for the advanced polls, but that didn't happen. There was only one polling station opened in Bimini today, with only a little over 100 voters. Just over half of that number had already voted by noon. While there, we came across this man who says the Coalition of Independence leader Lincoln Bain should have a chance.
We've been standing on the sideline of this tennis court for too long.
Well, we did say a bit earlier that 2 of the 5 candidates would be joining us. We want to make it incredibly clear that the invitation was extended to all of the candidates. Our goal here is to provide the viewers with insights into the candidates' backgrounds, values, and experiences. We want to create dialogue where voters can connect with the individuals behind the policies and decisions. Now, you may wonder, why don't the major political parties jump on board with our little experiment? Are they afraid of something? Perhaps. Do they fear the spontaneity of unscripted answers or the audacity of alternative campaigning styles? Who knows? But today, it's the independent candidates who are boldly stepping up to the plate. So whether you're a staunch supporter of the establishment or a lover of the underdogs, today's show is all about leveling the playing field. It's about getting to know these candidates beyond the glossy campaign posters and carefully curated sound bites. Because, let's face it, sometimes a rally just won't do it. A campaign is not just about capturing the spotlight for a fleeting moment. It's about fostering a genuine connection with the people. And perhaps it's time to challenge our political community to open themselves up to more authentic and more intimate conversations where the echo of the applause is replaced by meaningful dialogue. We welcome my first guest on the other side of this break. Stay with us. This is On the Record. Welcome back. My first guest is a longtime activist with ties to the constituency, particularly in Grand Bahama. She is the founder and past president of Rise Bahamas, Ternille Burrows, who is one of 2 independent candidates if elected. She says that legislation on child protection is at the top of her list. On the Record welcomes Ternille Burrows. Let's dive right in. As we said, Ternille, welcome. You've got just about 15 minutes to get through a select number of questions. So you're on the clock as of now. Can you outline for us the main pillars of your campaign platform?
Good day, Jerome. As you alluded to, child protection legislation is my primary platform item. I'm also concerned heavily with the development of the arts and performing arts in particular industries throughout the Bahamas. We are in $1 trillion industry worldwide that the Bahamas currently does not partake in. So particularly young people who have talent, skills, and abilities, singing, dancing, comedy, music. Once we begin to seriously look at building creative industries in the Bahamas, they will have career opportunities as opposed to just jobs.
Now, how do you plan to address the pressing challenges faced by the island?
Well, we have to go in order of priority. Once we continue to canvass and speak with constituents about their concerns, definitely a list has already been made. So we would have more meetings with them and find out, what are urgent needs versus things that can wait for a little while versus things that we want to see down the line. So that would be the approach that I would take in terms of that. And I definitely would be continuing to identify community leaders who could act as our own private sort of council or local government kind of model to ensure that the needs of each area are met sufficiently.
Now, how do you differentiate yourself from other candidates?
Well, I'm a woman. Hey, girl, hey. That's the easiest differentiation. I think my platform is different. It's really heartfelt. It's something that we have not paid a lot of attention to through our legislative arm for a long time. The Child Protection Act is something that needs an overhaul. We need things like implementing mandatory minimum sentences for crimes against children, violent crimes. And we need things like Bella's Bill, which my organization proposed to expand the definition of people who are mandated to report crimes against children or suspected child abuse or face penalty. So things like that, the little things that they might have overlooked or not prioritized, I would be focused on heavily in Parliament while juggling the responsibilities of attending to constituent needs and development in that way.
What specific skills or experiences from your past do you believe uniquely qualify you for public office?
Well, I'm a recording artist, songwriter, filmmaker, producer. I did a ton of jingles in the Bahamas back in the day. You might know a few of them for sure. The Shoot Village, It's Better in the Bahamas. I've, since my teenage years, been able to earn grants amounting to a few $100,000 to invest in my music career, music videos and things like that from Much Music in Canada. And in my more recent years, I was able to get a grant totaling more than $250,000 to support the work of a campaign through my nonprofit organization. So fundraising, community engagement. I've worked as an engagement coordinator at the Organization for Responsible Governance in the past, and just really being able to organize, galvanize, mobilize. Those are my strengths.
How has your connection to the island really influenced your perspective on its needs and potential?
Well, I consider myself a citizen of every island of the Bahamas. I consider the Bahamas as a whole my stomping ground. I haven't gotten to visit all of them as yet, but West Grand Bahama and Bimini, I think, is a unique destination, and they have unique problems that can be addressed. Like, I guess you call a by-election there and you get issues addressed, or bring some attention there, or have some sort of competition for who's going to be the one to represent them, and they get the attention that they need. I hope that it's sustained, though, beyond the election, whomever might come out victorious. Things related to child protection and child safety, things related to education, healthcare, basic necessities are needed in terms of improvements to what exists currently in West Grand Bahama and Bimini.
All right, so what core values really guide your decision-making process?
Well, go with your gut. Try to be as open-minded as possible in terms of needs that might exist. Try to be as strategic as possible so that you can be effective. You don't want to just be like running around like a hamster in a wheel and accomplishing nothing except, well, I guess, burning some pounds. But I feel as though we need representation that is active, which I am, and the same type of energy that I've put behind advocating for proper child protection in this country and the prioritization of child protection in this country, I will now be putting behind a constituency or two, because I haven't abandoned Elizabeth, in terms of whatever ways that I may be able to share opportunities or, create avenues for new industries and that sort of thing in the constituencies of West, Grand Bahama, Bimini, and Elizabeth.
Interesting. If elected, what do you hope to achieve during your term, and what impact do you aspire to leave on the community?
In the House of Assembly, I hope to outperform the opposition. I hope to be, I will be appointed to the Public Accounts Committee and ensure that work is done to better scrutinize the financial work of the government. The impact that I want to have on the community is that they can see ways that we come together and help ourselves, not just always appealing to the government. But once I've learned through advocacy, you can appeal for 10 times and never get a response. If you keep appealing, then you try to find other ways to pivot and get things done. So the more self-sustainable the constituencies that I've been a part of and seek to represent are, the better. Outside of that, just teaching us to have a voice. There's more than one way to attack a challenge. You can speak up about it. You can petition. You can host a demonstration. There are many ways other than just casting your vote in a by-election or every 5 years in a general election to have an impact. And I hope to impart that knowledge and practice within and throughout the West, Grand Bahama, and Bimini areas.
All right. Can you share a memorable encounter you've had while campaigning?
Well, hopefully you get the video, but I was able to speak about child protection to one family with a number of children in the home. And so at the end of it, I explained to them about demonstrating and fighting for their own rights as children and things that they can do. So I had my megaphone, and of course, everybody wanted to take a turn on the megaphone, see what it was, listen to the sounds that it made. So we just held a little mini demonstration outside their porch, calling for child protection. Hopefully you'll be able to see the footage.
Fantastic. Sounds like a great encounter. Now, how do you plan to stay connected with the everyday concerns of your constituents?
Well, like I had mentioned previously, I'd want to identify community leaders throughout each polling division. One from each polling division would be ideal. Other than that, we'll settle for one for every few polling divisions throughout Bimini and the West Grand Bahama constituency. And that way I'll have a pulse on what's going on and what are the immediate concerns versus longer term concerns. I really do believe that local government done the right way in the Bahamas, where you have a number of people representing the needs and concerns, and where you also have a substantial budget that is enough to cover what your needs and concerns may be, the more pressing ones, that's a model that can work. So in Parliament, through my position as a member of Parliament, I will be utilizing every possible angle to ensure that we can get the attention and address that may be needed.
All right, so at this point, this is where we begin to test a little bit of your knowledge of the constituency, and we're going to find out some personality things from you. So, we're gonna have a little more interesting conversation as far as I'm concerned. So, West End is known for its fishing and was once home to the late Israel Rolle. What is his endearing nickname?
Well, I would have to go with Izzy or Mr. Rolle or Fisherman, because I have no idea what the answer is to that question.
You were close with one of them, Bonefish Foley. All right.
Oh, see the song. You should just sing the song first.
You don't want me to sing. No, you don't want me to sing of all people. All right. No, I leave that up to you. So why did West End thrive during the American Civil War in the 1800s? Any idea?
I wasn't there, so I'll have to go by hearsay.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know. I'm going to say they had a lot of fish, and people wanted fish, and that made peace.
I'll give you a hint. It really soothes. Sometimes it's something great for entertainment.
Really, that's a hint?
Yeah. Why did West End thrive during the American Civil War of the 1800s?
I can see it. Let me know.
All right. Smuggling during Prohibition. All right.
Oh, so, not muggling?
Yeah, smuggling. Yeah. So
how is that entertaining?
True or false? West End is the second largest settlement in Grand Bahama. True or false?
Well, as far as I know, 8 Mile Rock is the largest settlement.
Bing, you correct. So,
So
I'll give you
I
a little
guess
help
it'll
there.
take second.
It's the third actually. So
It's the
you're
third,
right.
okay.
Yeah, you did well on that one. All right. So this is one about Bimini now. What famous American activist came to Bimini to write a riveting speech that resonated with millions?
Wow. Was it American? You're not asking if I can get clues. You're not saying if I can
it's
get
an
clues.
American. Yeah,
Obviously, it was a man. So I'm gonna
American
go.
civil rights activist.
Yeah. We know. I just was stalling. So we're gonna go with Martin Luther King.
Yes,
Thank
right
you.
on. All
I'll
right,
pat myself on the
you
back.
got it. All right, so
Go Bimini.
so again, these are more of the personality questions for you. What's
much it
the
is, you bad boy?
best? What's the best Bahamian breakfast?
Me, I like stew fish
All
and
right.
Johnny cake, not grits. Stew fish and
Hold
Johnny
on,
cake
hold
with
on,
butter.
hold on. Just stew fish. All right, good.
With butter.
So, coconut or pineapple tart?
Coconut.
Coconut. All right, it's coconut.
Yes,
I
sir.
got you. All right. Again, another
Or
choice.
I like to mix things up because I'm like versatile like that. So coconut pineapple would be the best. Do they even do that?
I'm no baker. I can handle myself with some food, but not baking. All right. 8 a.m. or 11 a.m. church service?
Bedside Baptist.
All right. You answered this one already, but I gotta ask it. You eating stew fish with grits or Johnny cake?
Johnny cake,
Why?
hands down.
Why?
Cause mama baked me Johnny cake, Christmas coming. Hey.
It's a Johnny cake. All right. Sky Juice or Gully Wash?
Woo.
What's the name?
I only know the Subway version of Gully Wash where you put all the sodas together with the Gully. What is Gully? I know Sky Juice,
The
obviously.
same thing. In Grandmama, they call it Gully Wash.
Like the non-alcoholic beverage.
Like the alcoholic beverage.
Oh, so do I call it Sky Juice or do I call it Gully Wash?
I asking you which
I call it Sky Juice.
You call it Sky Juice. All right, there you go. And finally, this is the question that resonates. This is the age-old Bahamian question. How do you spell boy?
Several iterations.
No, you only
exist.
get one. Which one is it?
I
There's,
go
there's
B-E-Y.
an online argument almost every day. How do you spell
I know
boy?
that
How do you spell it?
B-E-Y is what I go with. I know there's B-U-I.
I asked you what you go with. Which is
I
it?
go with B-E-Y.
All right, boy it is. All right. All right. Tennille, thank you so very much. We wanted to just give people a snapshot into the candidate and certainly your talk about your platform, but also give a little bit of personality. Best of luck to you. Thank you so much for giving us this opportunity to get to know you a little better. We wish you best of luck.
Thank you on the record and Jerome.
All right. On the next side of the break, we welcome the second independent candidate. Stay with us. This is On the Record. Welcome back. My next guest is no stranger to the constituency. He is the second independent candidate in the race. He ran in the last general election as an independent candidate as well for the West End and Bimini seat. While he did not win the seat, he's wondering, will the second time be the charm? On the Record welcomes Daquan Swain. Good to have you with us today. Again, just to go over what we're attempting to do here, we've got a set number of questions. We've got 15 minutes, and you're officially on the clock. Let's begin. Now, can you outline the main pillars of your campaign platform?
So the main pillars of my campaign platform is housing, unemployment, social issues. So if we talk a little bit about it, with housing, we have a lot of displaced individuals who just need somewhere temporary to lay their head. We want to help them. We want to assist them temporarily until they catch their feet. We have unemployment in the community. A lot of people misinterpret that with poverty. In the area of West Grand Bahama and Bimini, a lot of people, they owe the bank nothing, but there's an unemployment issue. So we need jobs for the community. We need to get our people to work, and they're looking for that opportunity to get out there and work. So those are the main things that we actually want to hit in the campaign: housing, unemployment, getting our residents to work, and helping those who need that helping hand temporarily.
Now, how do you plan to address the pressing challenges faced by the island?
So the pressing challenges faced by the island right now, especially in the area of West Grand Bahama and Bimini, you have a lot of people who talk about the lighting issue going down to West Grand Bahama. And then in Bimini, you have a lot of people who talk about the banking issue. So with the banking issue, I've been in the bank now over a decade. I have the right connections and partnership to get banking facilities in Bimini so that they can have an option, an alternative of banking. As well as in West Grand Bahama, they need ATM access. They don't need an actual bank, but if they can get an ATM down there where they can deposit and withdraw their funds, we can push the digital platforms down there for them to be able to use that alternative. And then with the lighting issue in West Grand Bahama, a lot of people talk about the lighting issue, but they don't know how to actually solve that issue. The issue for that, it's a population density issue. What the Grand Bahama Power Company does is they charge people for those street lights in those particular communities. So when you have an area with no people living in that area, there's no one to absorb that cost. We have the practical plan, my team, to make that happen for the residents of West Grand Bahama, and we know how to do it from day one. So those are the most pressing issues, and every one of those, we know how to solve them.
Now, how do you differentiate yourself from the other candidates?
Well, for me, in West Grand Bahama and Bimini, the difference is they have someone who is genuine. The other candidates, they're looking for an opportunity to get into the House of Assembly only to get a government position. When they get that government position, most likely they're going to move to Nassau to handle that position, whether it's a cabinet minister position or whether it's a chairman of a board. And what happens then is they lose focus from their actual job. The actual job is to be there in the community. My sole job would be to be there, intimately involved in every process of making the community grow. No ulterior motives, no looking for a job, no looking for an opportunity by government, just solely in the community, building rapport with residents and addressing their concerns on a day-to-day basis. So what they get with me is they get someone who will be there after the election. When the dust is settled, when the dawn is broken, they get someone who will still be there for them, standing by them, because that is when the work actually starts. And that's what they need. For far too long, we've seen where after election, people disappear. They forget what the main focus is. But for me, they get someone whose job starts when the election is over.
Now, what specific skills or experiences from your past do you believe uniquely qualify you for public office?
So for me, again, I'm a banker by profession. I understand finance. I know how money works. I know I have financial literacy skills. I've done seminars all over the Bahamas on financial literacy, teaching young Bahamians how to manage their finances, how to budget, the things that are important. And for me, I feel like with public office, even beside that, you need to have some form of civic duty that you have completed or some causes that you will fight for in the past. And for me, I've done that. People know in Grand Bahama my voice has remained consistent on various issues in Grand Bahama. The power company, when we were there protesting in the front of their door. The Grand Bahama Port Authority, when we were there protesting in the front of their door. Then I'm also involved in organizations such as Rotary. I was a past Rotary director, the youngest Rotarian in the Commonwealth of Bahamas at that particular point. Rotaract, another civic organization that I served on. So it's about service. It's about how you love people. It's about the relationship you build with people. It's about how you make people feel and what you can accomplish for them to make their area grow. So I feel like my track record and all of my community activities, the track record of me fighting for different causes on the island for decades qualify me to run this race and actually complete this job.
So our next question, how has your connection to the island influenced your perspective on its needs and potential?
Well, The main thing is that you when you're intimately involved in a community and you know a community, you know what it needs. I grew up in West Grand Bahama. I am from Holmes's Rock, Section C, Knowles Way. I was born and raised in Grand Bahama. I'm from the community. I have played on the sand in the community. I've shot marbles in the community. And I know what the community needs. I know the people of the community. The people in those areas are my family. So I know what we need. I know what our community needs to grow. I know what we need to thrive. And I know what we need to get our economy in both of those communities where it needs to be.
Now, what core values guide your decision-making process?
Well, for me, I put people first. I put people first. I have a saying that, people don't remember the parties. People don't remember the motorcades. They're fun. All that is fun and well. But people remember how you make them feel as a person. People remember when you are there for them in their toughest times. And oftentimes you have a lot of politicians who come around and try to, slide someone $100 or slide someone $50. The people in these residents, West Grand Bahama and Bimini especially, are resilient people. They're not looking for $100 in a hat anymore. They're looking for opportunity. They're looking for an opportunity to better themselves, for their children. See, they're realizing now that it's not about giving them that little fish that will temporarily feed them for a couple of hours. They now want opportunities where they can be an independent system within themselves, where they can get their own food, pay their own water bills, pay their own light bills, and they're not dependent on a government system. People in West Grand Bahama and Bimini want to move past the times where they have to stand on social services lines for vouchers and certificates. They want to be able to provide for their family. And the only way for them to do that is to provide them with opportunities. And that's what they're looking for. So the core values are to put people first and provide them with the opportunities that they need to grow and be independent.
If elected, what do you hope to achieve during your term? And what impact do you aspire to leave on the community?
On the community, I want to inspire people that it doesn't take fancy degrees, it doesn't take fancy titles, it doesn't take fancy material things. It only takes someone who is actually interested and solely interested in fighting for the community. I want to show young men that you could achieve anything that you want to achieve on any level, and you don't have to fit into the stereotype of what people try to class young men as today. So for me, I want to leave a legacy to show people that, listen, you don't have to have a stereotype of MPs. I know how things were done in the past, but I want to show people that once you have an MP who actually truly cares for the community and their sole job is to just be there for the community, we can see what we can achieve in a short space of time.
Can you share a memorable encounter you've had while campaigning?
So very memorable, and it's so much memorable encounters, but I'll share one. While I was in the West End proper area, I think that's Polling Division 1, the area we were in, while we were canvassing, we saw a particular area, and my campaign team said, man, I don't think nobody lives in the back there. I said, hey, listen, let's just go just in case, because I have this thing where if we touch one person on a particular day, that is perfect. And we went through this area, we went through this track road, and we got to a house. And it was a guy who was living there. His door was open. And as we went to the door, he was sitting there. And when we knocked, he said, hey, man, come inside, come inside. How are you? Who is that? So, we introduced ourselves. And he told us, he said, well, I'll be honest with you. I can't see. I only have 10% vision. But I don't want to let that affect my day. And I was like, wow. I was like, so you live in the backyard by yourself. How do you survive? How do you, get food? How do you get water? And he shared a story on how what he does to get down the steps, to get the water that he needs, what he does to make his food. And he showed us his daily process. And it just showed me that if a man with 10% vision living on his own could survive and thrive in West Grand Bahama and Bimini, then we have no excuse as a community why we can't be where we need to be. So that was completely inspiring for me, and it completely motivated me to push and push and push to make sure that we make that West Grand Bahama and Bimini gets what it needs to thrive and grow.
All right. How do you plan to stay connected with the everyday concerns of your constituents?
So we have a number of ways that we stay connected. We use WhatsApp as a big way to stay connected. We have broadcast lists where we share our plans and our visions every day, and we broadcast it out to the community. We have a cell phone number, email, Facebook, Instagram, where people can reach out to us any day, anytime. We have a constituency office phone number that people can reach anytime when they need urgent assistance from us. I also give out my personal number to the residents. I tell them I'm one of you. You could call me. Call me anytime. I don't want them to feel like there are any barriers in between them and reaching me. So I'm not one of them who changed their number after election. I had the same number for years. Throughout all the processes and experience that I've had in life, I kept the same number so residents could continue to reach out to me directly. They can reach out to our office. They can reach out to our team. So we give them multiple channels that they can reach us when they need to reach us at the time they need to reach us.
All right. So at this point, this is where we really test your knowledge. You say you're born and bred in West End.
Yes.
We can find out what all you know right now. So West End is known for its fishing and was once home to the late Israel Roll. What is his endearing nickname?
Bonefish Foley.
and he can sing it. All right. Why did West End thrive during the American Civil War in the 1800s?
Oh, in the 1800s. Oh, Lord. You get me on that one.
Wasn't paying attention in history class. So it was smuggling during Prohibition.
Okay.
Let's move on. True or false? West End is the second largest settlement in Grand Bahama. True or false?
False.
Correct. It's the third. All right.
Yes.
What famous, I can see what you know about Bimini now. What famous American activist, civil rights activist, came to Bimini to write a riveting speech that resonated with millions?
That was Dr. Martin Luther King. That's when he was on the boat fishing with Ansel Sanders, who is known as a legendary bone fishing man in Bimini.
Well, you really know your history. You pay attention to that. All right. Okay, now, what is the best Bahamian breakfast?
The best Bahamian breakfast? Well, for me, the people might not agree with this, but that is grits with tuna and sausage.
All right. We can't kill you for that. I got the grits and tuna pie. Coconut or pineapple tart?
For me, coconut tart.
Coconut tart. All right. Now, I can find out really how much of a community man you are. 8 a.m. or 11 a.m. church service?
Boy, 11. 11. 11. It got to be 11.
All right.
Unless you are Anglican and you do that early morning mass, 11 o'clock.
All right. You're eating stew fish. You having grits or Johnny cake?
With stew fish? Boy, I have to have Johnny cake. I can't do it with grits.
Why Johnny cake?
See, I have the dip. See, what I can do is I can have my Johnny cake and I can break a piece of that and I can use the broth from the stew fish and I can dip that and eat my Johnny fish. I can't do it with grits.
That's a Grand Bahama thing. All right. Sky juice or gully wash?
Come on. We know it's gully wash. Sky juice is I don't know that's a thing Nassau people make up. It's gully wash.
So it's definitely gully wash.
Wife about that.
All right.
My wife from Nassau, and she always saying sky juice, and I always just tell her it's gully wash.
All right. Now, final question. This is I find this a daily argument on social media around the Bahamas. How do you spell boy?
Oh, that's the easy one. Well, I say that you spell it B-U-I. That's boy. Not none of the other stuff.
We cannot kill you for that. Daquan, it has been a great few moments. You've really helped us to understand your campaign, your personality, and you really are knowledgeable about the constituency. It was a pleasure. Thank you so much. Best of luck to you. I know you got a fight ahead of you. So best of luck and thank you again.
All right. Thank you so much for having me.
Stay with us. This is On the Record. As we conclude this episode, I want to extend my heartfelt gratitude to the independent candidates who bravely engaged with us in this informal dialogue. Your willingness to step into this conversation speaks volumes about your commitment to engaging with the electorate in an approachable manner. While we extend our appreciation, it is crucial to emphasize that our doors were open to every candidate equally. It's regrettable that our final guest, COI leader Lincoln Vane, who agreed to join us, opted for a no-call, no-show. Nevertheless, our aim remains unwavering: to provide an equitable platform for all candidates, ensuring each voice has the opportunity to be heard and understood. Thank you for being a part of this conversation. Painless, right? Well, we do hope that you can walk away knowing just a little bit more about the faces you see on the news daily. By the time we meet again, we will have a new representative for West Grand Bahama and Bimini. Until then, let's continue to encourage more of our candidates to step out from behind the podiums and away from the polished speeches and into the unfiltered reality of our communities. Let's foster an environment where genuine debates, authentic conversations, and the real connections take precedence over the theatrics of the traditional campaigning. Because in the end, it's not just about winning votes, it's about building a bridge of understanding between the people and those who aspire to lead them. Once again, I'm your host, Jerome Sawyer. We'll see you next time right here on The Record.